Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People. In today's episode, coworker took glucose tabs out of my locker because they taste like candy. Neighbors have absolutely no respect for our boundaries. Entitled American couple demands English only. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Coworker took glucose tabs out of my locker because they taste like candy. About 12 years ago, I worked in security for a high-end resort. It was a small group and the head of security was a retired police sergeant. He was actually pretty cool and had a really strong sense of right and wrong. We had a fridge in the back and I would buy things like juice for when I had a low sugar, type 1 diabetic, and snacks to keep my sugar from bottoming out since I walked 5 to 6 miles per shift. My juice disappeared. I replaced it and the same thing happened again. I got another and wrote on it that I don't use cups and I have mouth herpes. It disappeared again. We all had an idea who it was but couldn't ever catch him. Until I walked in one day and saw the first shift guy making a meal out of my food. I asked him point blank what he was doing eating my food and he said, "That's what you get for being late." I checked the clock and I was 2 minutes late. He even took food out of my locker and was snacking on my glucose tabs because they taste like candy. Somehow the head of the department found out what he said and called me in to ask me about it. Seems this dude had been stealing food from the fridge since he started there, and while people weren't happy about it, they were willing to let it go since a lot of people brought food in and thought of it as community property. This didn't apply to me because they viewed my food as medically necessary, and this was the first time he went into someone's locker. My boss said this would be handled and dismissed me. When I came in for my next shift, all of this guy's stuff was gone and his locker was empty. My mom also worked there at the time and I found out that because this guy served in Iraq, he felt like everyone owed him. He would constantly come in late to work, pawn his work off on other people, and was the only one who didn't contribute to the communal fridge. If you needed to type up an incident report, you had to wait for him to finish browsing the internet on the office computer. We had only one at the time. I ran into him about 6 months after he was let go while I was doing laundry, and right as I was approaching the big machine, I was doing mine and my then BF's laundry, he jumped in front of me and took it. This guy might be the most entitled POS I've ever encountered. ETA, I told my mom about this post and there was more that happened before I started. I normally wouldn't have added anything because it was already more than enough, but this latest info was straight WTF. Guess he used to try to bring his enormous husky into the office with him, but the boss said he couldn't do that. Okay, the dog isn't in the office anymore. But less than a few hours later, the office received a report about a dog locked in a car. He left his dog in the car. WTF? I have 2 dogs, one we rescued just last December and he's 12. I won't even leave him outside in the sun too long even though he loves to sunbathe because he's my baby. When boss man pretty much asked him WTF and said he can't do that, it's cruel. The guy said he wanted his dog near him but was told he couldn't bring him to work. Again, WTF? Wow, he sounds like a really pathetic human being. Clearly his mother didn't raise him not to steal. I bet he brags that he left that job because he was too good for them, not that he was fired. And the laundry story that he tells his mates will be that you tried to steal his washer, but you were so intimidated by him that you ran away. He doesn't have any friends. Oh, you do not steal a diabetic's hypo sweets. I had sweets on my desk at work with the words medical written in Sharpie all over. Had a hypo one day, opened the tub and some douchebag had eaten them. I was livid. My work friends bought me clear jar with warnings all over it after that. To be a fly on the wall when you told your friends. My imagination, I'm sure, cannot compare. LMAO everyone. Walmart CPT America here served in Iraq. Please respect him by donating your food. Did I mention he served in Iraq? Guarantee he was a POG who spent 6 months shuffling paper in the green zone and then came back and made grunt-style shirts and Black Rifle coffee his entire personality. Type 2 diabetic here, and this story infuriated me. Only once did my lunch ever get stolen and I was beyond pissed. So I went out, bought an insulated lunch bag and kept it at my desk. The bosses tried to convince me to put it in the communal fridge, but I told them I couldn't risk having my lunch stolen, especially with my medical condition. Since then, my lunch bag stays with me, at my desk and in my drawer. Neighbors have absolutely no respect for our boundaries. So I live in a pet-friendly condo/apartment complex with my partner and our 7-month-old puppy. Beside my building is a wide patch of grass where I take my pup to do her business. I have to cross this area to get to my car as well. On the other side of this patch of grass is a townhouse inhabited by some of the worst people I've met. They're obsessed with my dog, who is unfortunately very fond of them. My dog is a lab mix, and her only mission in life is to befriend every living thing on the planet. This has made training particularly difficult because we can't get her to listen around other people, as friendship is more rewarding to her than treats. These people have absolutely no respect for the fact that she's my dog, not theirs. If I'm taking her out to pee or going to my car with her and they hear us, they'll come out of their house, car, whatever to come play with her. The craziest thing is that they'll go to their door, without consulting us, and yell to the rest of the family that our dog is out if they want to come pet her. We get stuck out there for upwards of 20 minutes. If I run into them without my dog, they don't even say hello. We've been telling them recently that they can't pet her unless she sits calmly first, and that they need to back away because the distance helps her to listen. Obviously, they don't care. They inch closer and closer anyway, baby talking at her to the point where she's doing corkscrews in the air. Then she gets too wound up to go potty and ends up pissing in the house. Yesterday was the last straw. My partner took our girl out to shit, and the second he steps outside, the mom yells "Hi baby," and the dog starts going ballistic. He tells them the same spiel, they don't listen, getting closer and cooing at her, while my partner starts backing away. They then go inside to invite the rest of the family. Out come 3 children, the mom's boyfriend, and some other random dude staying there. They all circle around my boyfriend and back him into a corner, inching closer while he's begging them to back away. He picks up the dog, who's thrashing in his arms, all while the family is laughing at him and going on about how cute the puppy is. We live constantly on guard, and this has seriously inhibited us training her, not to mention she still has accidents inside because of them. These people have caused a lot of problems but don't listen when confronted. If I did confront them, they'd likely start a fight and the boyfriend would, in that case, surely beat me to senseless. The only way we've figured out we're going to handle this is if we see them going to call into the house that our dog is there, we're going to just pick her up and walk back inside without saying a word to them. It sucks, but maybe change the potty spot. Walk further away and out of sight? There's one other plot of grass we could take her to. This issue is A, we're still visible to these people and they'll call our dog's name, and B, the neighbors on that side have started a baseless rumor that our dog attacked theirs. Control what you can safely control. Make the time to take the puppy for a proper long walk. You will find another piddle spot, and training will be easier once they get the wiggles out and relieve themselves. And plan B is training her to shit right outside their front door. Welp. Time to be an asshole then. They don't care about boundaries, hell, they don't even acknowledge your existence without the dog, so I would start ignoring them with the dog. And to be extra petty, I'd put him in the car and drive a few streets over. Or better yet, a park. You can get a good walk in, and the dog can do his business. Have your partner text you when they are not around, then bring the dog back. If they have the audacity to finally realize you exist just to ask you where the dog is, I'd tell them he is with family and pointedly shut the door. Do not entertain these assholes anymore. Always take the dog out on a lead. If they start walking towards you, say stop loudly. Walk your dog back inside. Do it every single time. Entitled American Couple Demands English Only. This took place yesterday at a store here in Costa Rica named Maxi Polly. It's a Walmart subsidiary and you can buy American brands like Walmart's own brand Great Value there. I go there when I need pancake syrup, Oreos, and a few other things. Mostly though it's Costa Rican products and groceries. Got in line to purchase my items and I could see the folks ahead of me are other Americans, and it looked like by what they were buying that they were newly arrived for a months-long stay. Not the kinds of stuff you buy if you're in a hotel. They were perfectly normal right up until the cashier asked them in Spanish if they needed an electronic receipt and how much the order was. They went from normal to entitled in a split second. They started huffily ordering the cashier to speak English to them. Insisted on it. Of course he couldn't, the manager was called, but the manager does not speak English either. I offered to translate for them, but they both insisted English should be fluently spoken because it's a Walmart subsidiary which is a US company. No, it is not. Walmart Central America is not US owned. They refused, turned into something of a standoff until the cashier kept pointing at the total until finally they paid and left. Have a feeling they're not going to like living in this section of Guanacaste, Costa Rica. Few speak English here. You need at least some small pidgin Spanish to get around. It's the Ticos country, not the USA. Why on earth would you even ever think that anyone would speak English to you? These stories always amuse me. Like the gringos on a flight to Cancun whining because people were speaking Spanish. On a flight to a city in Mexico. Taught my girlfriend a couple Spanish phrases when she was going to Mexico. Dame dos cervezas frías por favor and ¿Dónde está los baños? Please give me 2 cold beers and where are the bathrooms? I would never expect anyone to be fluent in English in a foreign country. I would want to fit in. Or at least get bonus points for trying. It's Walmart, not the US Embassy. People are stupid. As an American, I apologize for them. Feel free to dump them in the ocean. I'm fantasizing about when they buy their next Honda or Toyota, the salespeople will only speak to them in Japanese. And the salespeople at the Chrysler dealer will only speak to them in Italian, because Chrysler is now owned by Fiat. And Jaguar dealership speaks only Hindi or Marathi since it's now owned by the Tata Motors, India. I have a couple errands in France. I have lost count of how many times Americans have complained to me that no one speaks English. By the way, yes they do, but the more attitude you give them the less they will. It's amazing how many locals who can speak English will play the not understand to rude Americans. Polite people will be helped, rude people can go back to where they came from. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.